Welcome everybody to another EGC Genesis round of 32 series. This time around, we're going to be casting VortiX, Spanish player. I don't know why he shows us English. He's actually playing the French versus our good enemy here, Kelazhur from Brazil, who's going to be playing the French. There we go. That one shows up, right? Oh, and I need to fix the numbers. Whoops, this is not actually a 2-1. Sorry. Just fixing this. There we go. That is, reset score. There we go. That's nice. All right. So, Kelazhur, Brazilian player. He comes from the StarCraft 2 scene. VortiX is a Spanish player. He comes from the StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3, Heroes of the Storm scene, that sort of thing. Pretty solid player. It's going to be a good matchup. So we're going to see what these players do with French. They obviously have the benefit of not having to worry about the fact that if they lose this game, they still have 2 more games to recuperate, right? Or like at least 1 game to recuperate. So this French mirror, from what we just saw between Cider and Capoch, could go either way. It is going to be all about the map control. It is going to be all about how well you can control your opponent's position and exactly what they're doing. So as you can see, both players going heavy on food, a little bit of gold. And the idea here is going to be that you want to get that School of Cavalry first. Once you have your School of Cavalry set up, you then start producing Royal Knights. 2 Royal Knights will kill a villager in 1 hit if they get a really good charge on it. And that's basically your ticket to win it, right? You want to be trying to push more and more into your opponent's economy until it is destroyed. So that is why the French are also generally considered the stronger civilization to have. You end up getting these Royal Knights early. You have a couple of options to do. And there is a pretty big white space here that either player could choose to use at the moment. And you can see VortiX is going up right now, and Kelazhur is not far behind. And we're going to see building with 3 villagers, Kelazhur, and VortiX with just 2. So Kelazhur will probably be up a little bit early, but, it's just a matter of seconds. It's not going to be the craziest amount. Let's go with income per minute. And this is going to be an interesting fight. It is a mirror. I think a lot of people were expecting such, but we'll see exactly what happens here. So houses going up. Everybody's getting ready to start pumping those Royal Knights. That sounds bad. Not pumping the Royal Knights, just building them, producing them. So VortiX versus Kelazhur. This is pretty interesting because these are 2 players that up until recently you would never have seen in an Age of Empires title, but now they are competing here at EGCGENESIS. So more production, more units, constantly building more. Interestingly enough, so if we check economics at the around 5-minute marks, we have 20 for VortiX, 854 easy split. On the other side, we have another 20 for our friend Kelazhur, but he has an 11-7 split. So VortiX is prioritizing the wood line a little bit more than Kelazhur. Kelazhur only has 2 on wood. He's focusing mostly on food and gold. He wants to get those knights out regularly. What this is telling me is that VortiX wants to get the School of Cavalry up, and then maybe add a little bit of a barracks here, or maybe here. Maybe look to put some outposts here. Maybe put a mill here and an outpost, or, a mill. Man, you don't have really good locations here. You could potentially put a mill here once the scout leaves and add a little bit of an outpost. to make sure to protect it. So a blacksmith goes down and a second stable. So this is what what VortiX is actually planning to do. He wants to build a second stable, start putting Royal Knights even faster, and a blacksmith for upgrades. On the other side, Kelazhur is looking to be a little bit more economical with his approach. He wants to get those berries. He still has plenty of sheep to gather with that. So the cavalry is going to be building up from there with a couple of horses as well. Blacksmith went up. House should be going up soon, and indeed it is. And now Royal Knights are getting constructed. Neither player going for a quick chivalry to start healing those knights early on, but it makes sense because there are no knights yet. So here are those two knights that I was mentioning earlier. They're going to be going around and trying to catch their opponent. But now another two knights joining in here. This is going to be a pretty even fight, but I think VortiX looks to be the one to end on top here by catching the reinforcements and having better units. So you can see that VortiX is relying primarily on that sheep economy for the food. Meanwhile, our good friend Kelazhur is not. Another stable going down, so Kelazhur wants to match VortiX approach with a dual setup here for production buildings, what is effectively two stables, to begin putting out more and more cavalry. Obviously, that requires a bigger investment in terms of what you are getting, but I think VortiX is fine with that. I am a little bit sad that we're not seeing upgrades at the moment, though it is understandable given that VortiX didn't get as many people on gold early as he would have wanted. And you can see that now, here's that mill with that outpost added to it that is going to be able to grab onto all of these fantastic hunt. And now chivalry is down for VortiX, almost to be completed by Kelazhur at the same time. Both players are going to be having knights that can heal themselves once per second. A raid going on into the woodline. And you can see here the deprioritization of the woodline by Kelazhur. Here, not necessarily paying dividends, but at the very least not being as deadly. If you compare that woodline to VortiX woodline, you can see exactly how much wood VortiX is grabbing. And exactly as to what it is using it is using it this mill, this outpost. It's probably going to build another one somewhere around here when time comes to be able to use even more of that food. That is going to be his main concern because he wants to keep building knights. That is just the thing that he wants to do. And he wants to be able to control the area of the map that has all of these beautiful, beautiful hunt. Because, like you can see here, this is where Kelazhur should be milling and putting an outpost. He has two beautiful hunting grounds that he could be making use of, but he's not at the moment. And it wouldn't surprise me if VortiX eventually scouts them out and tries to get rid of them. And he actually knows about the two of them. He's been looking at them. You can see that the scout here was trying to gather more information about that. So VortiX is well aware of what's happening there. Neither player wants to commit to a fight early. They are just holding on and waiting, expecting there to be more trouble in the near future. So upgrades wise, getting the defensive melee for VortiX, that's pretty good. That's going to give his knights a little bit of an advantage in a fair fight. Kelazhur, for his efforts, doesn't have a blacksmith right now, so he's not getting anything at the moment to be able to upgrade, but he does have chivalry, so that is a pretty good upgrade to continually heal those knights when they're not in a fight. The mill here, no economic upgrades as of yet. If we check the other mills for VortiX, no economic upgrades either, none here as well. So neither player is trying to boom necessarily at this moment. They're not going for a second TC. They're just trying to put more bodies on the battlefield to try and have the better control of the map. And this is a bad fight for VortiX. He's going to lose one knight, almost lose one knight out of the bloom against 12 of the Royal Knights. So this is not a great moment for him and he's gonna turn and fight? No, he's just gonna run away. VortiX is just running away. He's gonna grab a couple of spearmen, a couple of more knights to push them up, try and get a hold of this. These knights are gonna find this mill, and VortiX needs to be careful so that the engagement goes in his side. And oh man, that is a crazy fight for both players. They need to be really careful. Second barracks going down now for VortiX. He wants to switch up to using spearmen because spearmen are super effective and they trade really nicely with knights. So that is something that you have to constantly do. And you can see now VortiX going for even more food here. He's just getting, I don't want to say greedy because that is relatively safe, but it is not entirely without its fault, right? So a battle here that wants to happen and doesn't want to happen is just a constant state of will they, won't they? So both players now just positioning themselves, trying to take control over the other. And you can see here, VortiX realizes that this mill is in a particularly bad position, but he doesn't want to leave it alone. Thankfully, he has another two, and he thinks that these ones are better hitting, and I would agree. And on the other side, Kelazhur is also putting out more mills to get more resources. So this is a big engagement waiting to happen at some point. VortiX would have liked to be the one in the aggression at this moment because he has the spearmen, and spearmen near the opponent's base also means that you can eventually build rams if you have siege engineering, which is available to him, but he hasn't researched it yet. So this could end badly if it's not properly maneuvered. More spearmen now coming out, and I believe indeed VortiX has stopped all his production of cavalry at the moment. He feels like he has a big enough blob to deter any attack from Kelazhur with just spearmen and the knights that remain with him. He should be careful with not losing those knights, and another set of knights chasing there. Good spearmen here. A couple of them are gonna die, but they are doing their job. They're being mid shields, they're pushing the opponent back, and this is a really good push by VortiX. He needs to be getting siege engineering behind this to be able to fully capitulate his opponent, because getting a couple of rams in front of here and starting to push into the opponent base would be the thing that wins it. You can see Blacksmith here getting the attack damage upgrade, but these ones have the defense damage upgrade, so in the end it will negate itself. Here's a big attack on the mill. It's gonna disrupt collection of resources for a little while. There is that, you see that? That is the beautiful way that you can stop the cavalry charge, and the spikemen are gonna be getting so many kills. They are exchanging a lot of blows with the knights, but I think VortiX has this. His pikemen are going to be able to do a lot of damage to the knights, and because they are in constant battle, they're not going to be able to heal up. Meanwhile, the knights for VortiX are just trying their best to kill the other knights, and it's going to be enough, right? After this fight, those knights are going to heal, the other knights are going to heal as well, and the pikemen did their job. They stopped the charge, they kept it up, and it's a good fight right here. They're going to need to heal up a lot, but, you know, you do what you can. And still no other military production building by Kelazhur. Kelazhur believes that he can win this with just knights at the moment. He's not even thinking about anything else. He wants to hit the gold here. It is a pretty good strategy, if not for the fact that right now VortiX could be at his base. And this is going to be a big raid that VortiX just doesn't want to engage with. He's just not going to be part of that, and you could see, this is incredible. Look at that. Kelazhur has no idea of those mills at the south. He does not know that right now VortiX economy is being fueled by this. That is a lot of food that is getting produced, and that is helping. And on the other side, here you have VortiX, who did found the economic engine for food on the side of Kelazhur. just killing so many villagers there. And sure, this mill was already known, but look at the level of spearmen that are coming into here and that are ready to just destroy the cavalry coming in. And this is a big raid now to finish off the villagers. Economic advantage goes 36 to Kelazhur, 53 to VortiX. So we're looking at 20 villagers advantage for the side of our blue player, our French player, against the other French player. And man, this is one of those fights where you realize that maybe getting an extra barracks would have maybe made the difference. I think Kelazhur might get out of this game with a loss and have to pick the next map, think about his civilization choice. Maybe he continues to go with French. In the end, VortiX could probably just flex switch into something else and be fine. But these raids have been absolutely brutal. And you can see just the spearmen here. The armory has all the upgrades that they need. And I think at this point, VortiX might be thinking that he could do well with maybe moving up to the next stage if these engagements are not proliferating, because he will keep losing a little bit and a little bit all of his units. And that is not going to be great. He doesn't want to be losing so many villagers, so many knights so quickly. They are expensive. And right now, to be able to age up, he needs to save more gold and more food. So you can see the farms now going up. This is the sort of the last bit of resources that you end up gathering, just building up farms to have safer eco. But thankfully, VortiX has this entire thing here down south to help him do that. And this is a very risky gold mine for Kelazhur. If that one falls, that is going to be a pretty problematic situation for him. Another mill for these berries here. Unprotected overall, and that's 16 villagers that are not going to have a job soon enough. And fight on the sacred site. It catches VortiX off guard and he loses 2 cavalry to it. But here come the spearmen. We're going to be fighting in the hidden forest. Nobody knows where anybody is. And now they drive back the horde of French royal knights with more French royal knights. It is going to be another stalemate, but you can see by the scores, VortiX 2800, Kelazhur 2000, 2000, 2100. It's not ideal for Kelazhur. He needs to pull back into this game big time. So all of the upgrades at this current feudal age have been researched by VortiX. I believe he should be researching some of the economics ones, but nothing yet. No wheelbarrow, no professional scout, nothing like that. Oh, and that's the big raid here. Catches that off guard, and counter raid now by Kelazhur, trying to get a little bit of value here from the one that he lost. But as you can see, those spearmen are doing a lot of job here. Look at those health bars. They are so low, and they're going to be driven out of the base of VortiX. That is pretty bad for Kelazhur. He's going to need to pull back, and you can immediately see Kelazhur is just building defenses now. He probably feels like he's behind, but I don't think he knows that he's 1,000 score behind. He might think that he's only a few hundreds. And now big economic raid here. Pikemen are fighting in the middle of all of this. And I don't think Kelazhur will like this. He doesn't want to tap out. He doesn't want to give up the first match that easily. He's going to have to fight it a little bit harder. But look at this. Look at all those royal knights that are just rampaging through. And that's going to be it. That's going to be enough. Kelazhur surrenders. It is game 1 in favor of our good mate